Right. And my dad grew up in Burma. Many of you may know in World War II, Burma was at the center of the fight between the so-called allies and the other side, right? Japan, etc. And my dad never saw a book until he was 10 years old. After the war, they came back to India from Burma. There was a time when people used to go to Burma. My great-grandfather on my father's side was very poor. He, at the age of 12 or 13, he got onto a ship where he had to work his way off. They basically was an indentured servant. Some people don't know the first slaves, quote unquote slaves, were from South India. In India, they were sent as indentured servants all over the world, long even before African slavery. So my great-grandfather was one of these indentured servants who went to Burma. He apparently worked so hard on the ship. Typically, you had to be there in bondage for 3 years. They let him go. And then in Burma, he did whatever job he could get. And then my grandfather grew up in Burma, and so did my father. But after World War II, they literally walked back and by ship back to India. So my dad didn't see a book until he was like 10 years old. Very smart. He studied under a mango tree with a very, very nice teacher in this village who taught him everything. He ended up becoming an engineer. And my mom and my dad met in Bombay. Now, if you've ever been to Bombay, Bombay's quite fascinating. It's a world within worlds. You know, you'll see, I'm sure you see pictures like this, but I assume you guys can see this, but, you know, you see all diversity, right? You see cows on the street, rickshaws, people with Armani suits, everything. But on the summers, or at least a quarter of the time, I would spend in this deep village in deep, deep South India, which had no running water. And these were the pictures that you would see there. You know, these very interesting. Every village always has a temple, a Shiva temple, interesting enough. And so my grandmother was a farmer, right? I would see her out in the fields planting rice like this. And this was a picture of her in her Sunday best. But on the weekends, she was the village healer.